Thank you. Again, my second guest today, Michael Grosso. Michael Grosso is from Waterbury. He's running in the first district up in the town plot area and some of the south side on the Baldwin Street side, Raymond Street, Pearl Lake Road, up on that end, which was gerrymandered at some point. It was gerrymandered at some point. It was gerrymandered. And, I'm glad about that, though. We'll get into that a little later. But today's a up and close conversation with the candidates running for Alderman by district in Waterbury. Michael Grosso is running for Alderman in the first district with Jameson Stock. But today is the up and close. Let's get to meet the candidate. Let's talk to Michael Grosso. Let's find out what Michael Grosso is about, who he is, how did he get here, what got you to this point. So, Mike, tell me a little bit about your background, your family, where you grew up when you were a kid, where'd you go to school, and then lead us into your adult life and how you got here to say, hey, I'm giving back civically to my community.
Sure. So my name is Michael Grosso. I was born November 18th, 1968. Born and raised in Town Plot. We have a long lineage in Town Plot. My grandparents moved to Town Plot, I believe, in the late 1950s.
Wow. So you were born in Waterbury?
I was born in Waterbury.
Oh, wow. So you're a homegrown kid.
I'm homegrown, 100% homegrown.
That's awesome.
And like I said, my grandparents built their house, I believe, in the late 1950s on New Haven Avenue in Town Plot. So my father, it's my father and my uncle, were their two kids. Both. My father's a little older, so he was already, I think, past almost into high school by the time he moved into Town Plot, but my uncle was 10 years younger. So as far as me, like I said, I was born and raised in Town Plot. I went to Tinker School. I went to Westside Middle School. I went to Kennedy High School.
By the way, all three schools are still standing.
All three schools are still standing. And
it's important for people to know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And all three are in the first district.
Correct.
So
correct.
All my schooling was done in the Town Plot area. Spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house because both my parents worked. My father was a barber during the day. He worked at a barbershop that's on Highland Avenue. I forgot what the name of it is now, but it's right around the bend heading towards West Main Street.
Wow.
And at nighttime, he played in a band that was very popular, band back in the day in Waterbury called the Master Tones. They did a ton of weddings, tons of parties. So between that and then my mother worked for Grossman's Lumber when it was in Waterbury. So me and my sister, as we were growing up, spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house on New Haven Avenue, which was wonderful. I'm Italian, American of Italian descent. And so my grandmother was an amazing cook. Every time we ate there, it was a treat. Everything she made was the best.
Mangiad, right? Mangiad.
Absolutely. My friends used to love coming over because her food was just second to none. I used to help my grandfather plant the garden, so now I do a garden myself because I grew up doing it. I love it.
See, those are things people take for granted, Mike, is that, we all go through human ascension as young kids and then high school and then adult life, and we take away from, our ancestry and our relatives, our grandparents, and the fact, people need to hear that. Like, that's when you, gardening and planting your own veggies and stuff like that, like, in the world that we live in today with the processed food and things of that nature, when you're doing that kind of stuff that's so healthy, it's a wonderful thing. But more importantly, it's the fact that got passed on to you. That's some positive.
Yeah, it's a tradition.
It's a tradition, absolutely.
And I love doing it. Like I said, every summer I would help my grandfather dig it up. I would help him plant it.
Yep.
I would help him pick, the vegetables and get ready. My grandmother used to make tomato sauce from all the tomatoes in the garden. So yeah, it was a fun thing to do, and it stayed with me throughout my whole life.
How big was your family, Mike? Sister,
So
brother?
So I have one sister. That's it. So it was my mother, my father, me, and my sister, and then my grandparents and my uncle. And that's, I mean, I have cousins and stuff like that. But as far as immediate family,
Yeah.
it was me, my sister, my parents, my grandparents, and my uncle.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, Mike. So you grow up in Town Plot, you go to high school, you know, you go into your own profession, and now you work as a lineman, right, for some company, right, that does natural gas or something like that?
No, so the company I work for, we're subcontractors for Eversource. I'm in the streetlight division, so we fix, repair, replace street lights, poles when they get
So you know a lot about infrastructure and stuff like that because you're dealing with that, right, on a daily basis?
on a daily basis.
Right. So that's great because, you know, everybody that becomes a public official brings something to the table, right? Like Alan was just on with us, and he's running in the 4th district, and that guy was story is crazy. I mean, that guy he went from going to technical school for mechanics, and the guy became an anesthesiologist. That story's wild.
Yeah.
You know, and so what I find fascinating is that guys like you end up become, you know, alderman for the city of Waterbury. And when I look at the folks that are there now, you know, a lot of the candidates that are running that are not aldermen, you know, we have nurses, we have police officers, we have, you know, former medical folks like Alan, yourself, who's involved in infrastructure and stuff like that. You guys actually bring some experience to the table.
We have a strong slate.
Yeah,
we have a very strong slate.
Slate is phenomenal. But Mike, so you grew up in Town Plot, you went to high school, you work, you have a family, you bought a house, you live on Norman Street, right?
Correct.
And what I know you ran what
2 years ago.
2 years ago. You ran in a primary.
I did.
And you won.
I did.
And then the same person ran against you in the general, and they beat you, right? Is that how that went?
So what happened was there was 3 of us in the primary.
Yeah.
It was me, Gary, and
Mary Grace. Yeah.
Me and Mary Grace both made it. So they took 2 out of the 3 of us.
Correct.
So we went to the general, me, Mary Grace, and then the 2 Democrats. And the 2 Democrats and Mary Grace won in the general election.
Oh, okay. So you made it to the general.
I made it to the general.
Okay. So that experience that you went through, so you have some experience of actually being in this fight, right? So now you're in it again. And tell me a little bit what triggers you to get engaged civically and say, hey, I got to get in the ring. I don't like the way Waterbury's going, not to get too specific, but something must have clicked and says, I got to do this again. Because, I can imagine it was a disappointment the last time you made it out of the primary, you lose in the general. And so to come back after losing, it's a difficult thing, But again, kudos to you, because in life, our success should never be measured by our failures, right? Our failures should instill in us, that intuitiveness to say, I lost, I fell, but I'm going to get up and fight again. So what went through your mind to get you to that point?
So before I get to that, the second I lost, my mind was made up that I was going to run again in 2 years. So I didn't even have to take any time to consider, am I going to do this again?
Right.
I really want.
What was that thought though, right there in that second? Can you remember,
of losing?
No. You just said the second I lost, I knew I made up my mind that I was going to run again. So what was that thought that went through your mind?
So the thought that went through my mind is it's going to be the fact that I lost and I saw who won. It's going to be status quo again. It's going to be, we're going to have 2 more years of the exact same thing. We're going to have 3 people representing my district that are nothing but rubber stamps and yes men.
Okay.
And I knew that because I saw who won the election.
Okay.
So immediately I knew.
So I have to take a step back.
Sure.
So when we talk about rubber stamp and yes men, for viewers, right, I have to be clear. Some people, they may watch this, may say, okay, what does that mean, right? So just to give some validity to what rubber stamp and yes men means, most people know what a yes man is. So what you're indicating is that the two Democrats were going to always vote with the agenda of the administration, which is a Democratic mayor, and then you're on the Republican side, and the Republican candidate, Mary Grace Cavallo, who's supposed to be representing the Republican. And listen, I know that, and I have to give a shout out to Steve and Dawn for the Dawn Majorano show, Majorano for the City, because they do a great job exposing a lot of, but not just exposing, they bring a lot of facts and validity to the table with good, research and documentation that actually is evidence of, some of the wrongdoings and how things are being mismanaged, if you will, right? So a rubber stamp would be Mary Grace Cavallo, who then doesn't really do her homework, yet she votes with the Democrats just to pass things through. And so that's what, for the viewers, just want to know what you mean by that. But go ahead. So you knew that this would happen more often with her being there because she would fall and align herself with the Democrats, not really giving the Republican side, and not just Republicans, the constituents of the city, the due diligence and her due diligence to represent them, with good intentions about making sound decisions, right? About how her yes affects everybody in her community. But back to you, Mike.
So it wasn't a far-fetched thought to think that she was going to do the exact same thing when she won 2 years ago, because we already had 4 years of her as an alderwoman,
right?
In the Town Plot district, or in District 1, I should say.
Right.
And her voting record spoke for itself.
Right.
She never asks a question at the alderman meetings, never. I mean, just sits there, and then all she does is just vote yes on every single thing. And you know what? Honestly, it doesn't matter what party you're in, Republican or Democrat. If we had a Republican mayor, the Republican mayor, people are human beings. Nobody's right 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
So questions are going to be asked, or should be asked, no matter if the mayor is the party that you're affiliated with or the opposing party. Questions need to be asked, because even if their intentions are good, not every intention is well thought out. And that's where an alderman's job is to think things out a little more, think about their constituents that put them there, and ask the question, is this the right thing for the people of Waterbury, or is this just going to benefit the elite that don't need it?
Right.
And forget about the citizens. And I knew immediately when she won the election with the two Democrats that it was going to be the same old, same old. It was going to be whatever was on the agenda that was put in front of them. She wasn't going to ask a question. She wasn't going to do her due diligence. All she was going to do is vote yes.
And so to your point, what I like viewers to know is that the Board of Aldermen meetings are all on YouTube.
They sure are.
And, if you want to go back and check, roll the tape, go to, they're Monday nights, right?
Monday nights, but you can go on right now because they keep them up there for years. So you can go on right now and just...
I was going to say, a lot of people don't know that, right? So people, the fact that, and again, I have to shout out Dawn and Steve, their show has now really awoken a lot of folks in Waterbury, with over 10,000, 14,000 viewers that go on regularly and view these shows. People are now watching the Board of Aldermen show more on YouTube. They don't show up, which I encourage people like Alan, who made it a hobby to go on Monday nights and go sit in and public speak and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But you made a statement about Mary Grace Cavallo. Go back and look. And in fact, people can research voting records of aldermen. And listen, I'll hold people to this, right? Just because you're Republican doesn't mean that you have to vote no every time to a Democratic, idea, right?
Correct.
And just because you're a Democrat, you don't have to vote no to every time that there's a Republican idea. The bottom line is, and I love how you put it, is not about the party. You choose a party or a team to be on for whatever reason that happens during election time. When it's all over, the bottom line, you're all there to support ideas that are going to benefit the constituency and the taxpayers of Waterbury.
That's our only job.
Right. And so drive that home when you serve, Mike, because I believe you're going to win. I believe that you're going to be victorious in the primary, September 9th. You're on row A.
I am on row A.
You and Jameson Stock.
Yep.
And I believe that in November, there's been some changes on the Democratic side with a couple of individuals up there that are not running, I believe. I think Chris Dorsal's not running.
Correct.
So Kenny Kern stepped in the ring. By the way, he is the chair of the Democratic Party. So he's now running up there. I think you have a very good shot, you and your team, on row A. Right now, in November, you guys will be row B, I believe. But right now, we got to focus on row A, get you to the championship game. You know, I always make the analogy of sports, right? You guys are in the playoffs right now. You're in the American League.
I love sports.
Oh, this is it. This is it, man. You guys are playing for the playoffs to get to the championship in November.
Yeah.
You're going to win, and I like your idea because every time I talk to you, it's the same emphasis. It's not about a Republican or Democrat. It's about the people you serve. And, Mike, if you could serve Waterbury like that, you're going to be a great alderman. You're going to do a good job. If there's anything that you can say right now, it's like your last breath, right? And this is crunch time. We have tomorrow makes 7 days before the election. What do you want viewers to know?
So I want the people of Waterbury to know that if you elect me to be on the board of aldermen, you're going to get somebody that takes fiscal responsibility, and every tax dollar that you have to pay front of mind on every decision I make. It's no longer going to be the favoritism, hey, I'm going to vote yes just because it benefits the elite people of Waterbury, or the few elites, the core group. Great. All of my decisions will be made thinking as a taxpayer of Waterbury, because that's what I am. I'm not wealthy. I don't have an agenda. I'm not agenda driven. I don't work in the city of Waterbury, so they can't buy me. I'm my own man. I'm a thinker for myself. I don't need somebody else to tell me how to vote. I will deep dive every single issue that comes before me. The people on our team want to caucus before the meetings. They want to take that agenda and actually sit down, rip that agenda apart, and look at it and say, is this going to benefit the people of Waterbury, or is this going to benefit the people that probably don't even live in Waterbury, but don't need any more benefiting? Right. So there's that. Infrastructure in the neighborhood, all right? Sidewalks. Those things need to be front and center. There's a lot of sidewalks that are broken down, they're cracked, half of them aren't even there anymore, they're overgrown. Stuff like that is important. If your neighborhood looks good, people start to feel good. Right. The community comes together.
It's a buy-in. Once you start addressing some of the blight, the infrastructure,
that's important.
If you're fiscally responsible and you're ensuring that tax dollars are spent correctly,
right? That's where tax dollars should be.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Mike, I want to thank you, man. I think that you are going to do great things, and keep working hard, keep identifying your voters. I know you're out there, boots on the ground, on the phones.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is that I want to throw it out there. This show's going to go on the 5th of September. So any volunteers, they can contact the Republican headquarters on Grant Street, 190 Grant Street, looking for some volunteers as well. We have a good core of people working there, but again,
I have some.
Mike, thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Vic.
And remember, row A First District, Mike Grosso, James Stock, and Waterbury Alderman.
Please get out and vote, please.
Thank you.